Здравствуйте.
Good morning, dear colleagues. Welcome to our event. Of course, it's a bit strange to have such an event on Monday morning, but I think nevertheless it will be successful. The topic of our today's roundtable is being discussed very intensively. The quality of natural gas in the market, and this problem is being intensively discussed by the consumers and producers. So the heating capacity of the natural gas is the major feature of its quality, the major characteristic of its quality. I believe that as of today, this is a broadly discussed issue among experts, and today we have almost all the representatives from organizations and stakeholders interested in the gas quality. These people are either responsible or interested in the quality of natural gas. So today, our topic is as follows: quality of the natural gas in Ukraine. For what do we pay? And we offer three issues for discussion. The results of gas quality checks held in 16 regions of Ukraine. The second issue is about nearest changes in the natural gas market and what they will entail for the quality of natural gas. And the third issue which we would like to discuss, what will change for the consumers as market participants, as market actors, when we will introduce such a parameter as gas heating capacity. We have Oleksandr Kosyanchuk. We have also Peter Reiter, professor from Ivano-Frankivsk Gas University. We have Oleksiy Khabatiuk. We have Pavlo Kyshkar. We have representatives from Ukrtransgaz, Mr. Bilyavksyi, Mr. Bolkhovitin, our colleagues from Ukrtransgaz, Mr. Andriy Hlebov. So let us start with the first topic, results of the gas quality checks held in 16 regions of Ukraine. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. When metrologists meet at any event, we immediately try to come to agreement about terminology. As metrologists who are metering the gas, who are measuring the gas quality, we are not market actors. We do not represent, we do not control or supervise the gas quality. We simply measure. We take samples of gas, we analyze the quality of this gas, we measure the number of components. Actually, all this process is done upon request of our customer who commissioned such a test, and we simply produce this analysis, and which is about this very sample of gas taken from this very point. And also there is an important feature that our confidentiality agreement with customers does not allow us to disclose the results of the analysis. But nevertheless, we are able to characterize in general those tests of the gas quality which we held during the last 2-3 months. So without violation of the confidentiality principle, I will produce some analysis. So we took samples in Chernigiv, Kyiv, Vinnytsia, Mykolaiv, Odessa regions. And produce some generalized picture. So the composition of the gas, methane, between 90 up to 96%. This is traditional methane. Also the upper hydrocarbons, the high hydrocarbons, and non-combustive elements like nitrogen, carbon, and oxygen in different proportions. All those amounts stack with the standards set by the for the natural gas. Another two characteristics which are important, these are the combustion temperature. It should be not less than 41 kilojoule. Actually, this temperature is higher. We have our standards set by the state, and they are between 41 and 54. Actually, our measuring showed that all the figures fall between 48 and 49. Actually, this proves that there are no deviations from the standards, from combustion quality standards set for the methane. When experts discuss the figures and standards about which you might have heard at school, but actually you do not know what do they mean, the physical meaning of these indicators. But so we can state that the combustion characteristics of gas are satisfactory, that is, they satisfy the standards. When we look at our Western neighbors, we understand that consumers pay money for specific parameters. That is, they do not pay for cubic meters of gas. They pay for the heat which is produced by the this gas. So consumers wish to pay wish to pay more for higher heating capacity of gas and less for the same amount of gas with a lower heating capacity. Maksym, could you please develop more about the situation in the regions? As far as I know, you participated in the Ukrtransgaz program and visited the regions of Ukraine checking the gas quality. First of all, I would like to introduce myself. I'm Maksym Bilyavksyi. I'm head of the Public Communications Department of Ukrtransgaz. Will you please show my presentation? Ukrtransgaz is an operator of the gas transportation system in Ukraine. This is the third year in a row when we carry out the transparency initiative, checking the quality of natural gas in Ukraine. Started this initiative in order to show that to all the consumers that the main gas pipeline transport gas of top quality. So we prepared passports of the physical and chemical parameters of all gas tests, which are held in our labs. We have 70 such labs. All of those labs are attested. And all of them check the quality of gas, which goes to distribution pipelines in Ukraine. We publish natural gas passports on a monthly basis on our website. In the year 2016, due to huge number of applications from consumers related allegedly to the bad quality gas. In 2016, we held two public events devoted to the gas quality. In order to show how we try to improve our performance. Currently, we work on the transparency platform, and we hope that it will allow us to provide the platform for discussion, for posting necessary information, that is results of our measurings of chemical and physical properties of the transported gas. At the end of last year, we decided to change approach, and we are grateful to our regional branches and organized press tours around regions of Ukraine. The overall picture you can of those presentations you can see on this map on the screen. Why calendar plan was important? Because our public communication groups worked in continuous regime. That is, everyday journalists came to our press points to hear about our what we are doing. We opened our production facilities for visits of mass media in more than 10 oblasts. The events were held in the period from December through February, and the results of this event had proved that quality gas is transported in the main pipelines of Ukraine to all and delivered to all the categories of consumers. We measured gas quality at all the points of distribution system where gas comes from main pipeline to distribution pipelines, took special testing by chromatographers.
As you can see here on slide, there's not a single region where the low heat of burning of natural gas is lower or corresponds to the norm 7600, which is established by the state standard. What it means? It means that the myth that the natural gas which is transported by gas transportation network corresponds to the indicators of the standards. We have changed the approach after our first press tour in Zhytomyrska region, and in all the regions and all the gas transportation facilities. During the press tour, there was not a single representative of Ukrtransgaz. Why we did it? So that the regional representatives of mass media, the activists, so that they don't have any limits and they could ask questions to people who operate the gas facilities. In these during the last 2 months, in the result of the program of this initiative, we had more than 100 representatives of mass media in such press tours. That's a good indicator for us. There were no negative feedbacks. Just on the contrary, we received the request to organize new press tours, but for different topics, like about the heating season, the conditions of gas storage facilities, and so on. So, summing it up,
Transgazu. Перше. Ukrtransgaz.
I would like to say the following. Ukrtransgaz is convinced that the gas transportation network of Ukraine transports high-quality natural gas, which meets the effective standards. There are no pieces of equipment or systems as to change of the quality composition of the gas. Ukrtransgaz is the transparent company which is ready and is doing everything to organize an active dialogue with all the categories of consumers. Operator of the GTS of Ukraine. We will work continue our work in the transparent way. If you have any comments, any remarks, please come to us. We are open, we are transparent, we are ready for cooperation. Thank you. Thank you, Maksym.
Слово хочу предоставить Павлу Кишкарю.
Now Pavlo Kyshkar. He understand the problem of quality gas and calorific value in Kiev region, but I would like to mention not just the Kiev region, because we're just close to Kiev region. But if you have any data on distribution networks all over Ukraine, please share with us. I would like to add we were taking samples not just in the laboratory but also in noble gases. That was the first time when we did it from the source to the consumer. First we took it from the laboratory of Transgaz, then we took it at our distribution plant, and then the sample from consumers. And we did it in 6 gas facilities where they had their own laboratories. What we received eventually, all the indicators are still the same along the whole chain. There were some errors, of course, made by the metering equipment. 9084 is Ukrtransgaz. We give Ukrtransstandart 9090. These are very minor errors. And I would like to join our colleagues and say that we really provide high quality gas. We also showed to the guys everything from the source, starting from the source. We cannot put some additional equipment to dilute the gas. And the colleagues from Ukrtransgaz also showed that they demonstrated that they are open for the citizens. So to sum it up, all the samples which we were taking all over Ukraine confirmed that the gas is of high quality, starting from the source to the consumer. Do we need to organize such things? I believe yes. And Andriy is like a referee in this situation. But there should be a body which is more or less neutral, because everyone says that we agree on something with Transgaz, but we offered Ukrstandart to participate in these processes. So we are open for to further cooperation. So we have expressed everything that we wanted on the first item of our agenda. So in the result of this inspection, we found out that we transfer high quality gas because we have the standard which has the limits of the quality of gas, but at the same time we are consumers, we buy gas not as some volumetric value, but as a commodity which in our apartments gives us energy. And if this energy in gas is somewhat different than we as consumers would like to pay exclusively for the content of energy which the gas has. And despite the fact that in the result of such field inspections we could make a conclusion that nothing should be done, the gas is of good quality, but that's wrong. The legislation, European legislation, requires that energy gets to the consumer with the parameters of calorific value. And despite the fact that gas is of high quality, but the legislative initiatives of the authorities which should create the conditions so that the gas is sold in energy units is working on that. Let's discuss what was done in this respect. And the second issue in our agenda is what the changes in the market of natural gas. We have two presenters. I would like to give the floor to Oleksandr Kosyanchuk, who's the head of the regulator. Good afternoon. Thank you for invitation. Today we are discussing a very important topic, and maybe in our country only the lazy one is not talking about the quality of natural gas, starting from household consumers and down to politicians. That is why I would like to talk about legislative aspects, how this issue is regulated, what is the situation today, and what are the prospects for the development of our national legislation. So as of today, the legislation, the Code of Gas Distribution Networks set the procedure and mechanisms of compensation to the consumers in cases they received bad quality natural gas which does not correspond the effective standards. More than that, I can tell you that before the code on gas distribution system was introduced, this was regulated by the procedure approved by the NERC. We've seen the map of Ukraine, region by region, the gas quality differs. It corresponds to different standards. The gas corresponds to quality characteristics, but there are some differences. And we mean that the consumer who receives the natural gas, which is not so calorific, but which corresponds to the effective standards, pays same price as the consumer who receives higher quality gas or higher calorific value gas, and that is to be settled starting from the summer last year with the regulator together with the independent experts. We were working on developing amendments to the legislation. In the result, we drafted resolution number 84, which was approved in the beginning of the year. It was approved by the Anti-Monopoly Committee, and now soon it will be made public. I would like to mention the key aspects of this resolution. I believe that that's the first stage of reforming the market which we are building and which exists in Europe. At that stage, we provide for first development by the operator of the GTS and DS, the routes of the movement of gas with similar chemical physical indicators, then publication of such routes, and every consumer knowing at which route he or she is, they can follow what are the physical chemical parameters, and they can control how the gas gets to them. And the key aspect of these changes is informing the consumer about the volume of natural gas which was received in kilowatt hours, in megajoules and gigacalories, what it gives to the consumer. That gives the consumer the possibility to compare what source of energy is more effective for them. Is it the natural gas, electricity, or centralized heating? But I would like to repeat, to my mind, this could be divided, this first stage. The second stage is full transition of the market to kilowatt hours tariffication and balancing the whole system in kilowatt hours. I believe that besides these changes which were introduced, we need to more carefully approach the second stage. The main obstacle today is the lack of technical regulations for the natural gas, which were to be developed by the Ministry of coal and energy back in 2015. Unfortunately, these technical regulations are still missing. As far as we have the information, we included into the working group. We are working on that. The work on developing the technical regulations is not very easy, but unfortunately, we still don't have any regulations when this document should become the basis for forming sampling and the mechanism of control. What should be the physical chemical parameters? And the next stage, I believe, has arrived, and if all the participants of the markets, if all the stakeholders get consolidated, I believe we will in the nearest future move to paying for natural gas by consumers in kilowatt hours, and I believe this will be correct and fair. Thank you, Oleksandr.
I would like to give the floor to Petro, who is representative from Ivano-Frankivsk Oil and Gas University. This is our academic community, and without science, of course, it's impossible to make such a step from the previous system of measuring to the commercial one. Whether we are on the right path or not. First of all, I would like to thank for inviting us to participation in this roundtable. We faced the problem which we are discussing today when we started to design the meters. Actually, the consumers, of course, they do not have measuring equipment. They cannot measure the heating capacity. They cannot measure the calorific value. And they rely on their subjective observations. Of course, the major purpose of having gas is to combust it and to get heat from it. The essence, the physical essence of this reaction is to cause the reaction, to start the reaction between methane and oxygen, and the CO2 is produced in result, while the big amount of heating is emitted to the air. The heating depends on oxygen, of course, coming from the air. Then, and it also depends on the technical condition of the gas distribution system, and even the technical condition of the oven, which is used for combustion. And the heating capacity of gas, even being equal between different mixtures of gases, can produce nevertheless different calorific values or different composition of emitted components. So we analyzed some gases with a dew point at the level of 8 degrees Celsius, or sometimes there could be some moist in result of combustion. So the major element in combustion process is oxygen. I'm representing the Energy Management Department, and currently we try to understand the heating, how the how the combustion should happen. And now, when we try to insulate our kitchens, but when we insulate from the outside, the combustion which happens in the kitchen adds CO2 and decreases oxygen. Besides that, we produce vapors, and in the kitchen where the water boils, and this also influences the combustion quality of gas. And even the design of the oven may influence the heating capacity. All the ovens are designed for specific gas pressure in the network. But many consumers now install their individual gas boilers, and now in Ivano-Frankivsk 47% of consumers have their gas boilers installed. This influences the pressure in the network, and the standard set by standards is rather broad, but actually the fluctuations within this standard might be big. There should be between 1 to kilopascals in the network. So the more boilers we have connected to the gas distribution network, the less will be pressure in the ovens. That is, the gas quality should be measured not only from the calorific value point of view, but also the combustion heating, the combustion temperature of gas. And nevertheless, I'm convinced that we should shift to commercial measuring of gas properties and gas burning capacity. In perspective, we should approach to the energy quality indicators and then improve it further. Now we have approached to the third set of issues. And here I would like to invite to discussion subjects, representatives of the gas market. I would like to represent Oleksiy Khabatiuk, who has been representing Naftogaz of Ukraine, which is a supplier to the bigger part of Ukrainian population. I would like to introduce myself. I'm Oleksiy Khabatiuk, Deputy Head of the Energy Efficiency Department from NAK Naftogaz, Ukraine. We are a big company, but in terms of the gas quality, we play a secondary role after our Ukrtransgaz colleagues. And when it comes to the consumers, then they contact primarily with the operators and gas distributors, gas traders. gas traders are weakly related to the gas quality. We are more involved into contracting, and we should measure gas in energy units. Actually, it should be measured in energy units in line with those treaties which Ukraine has signed with the EU. A representative of the academic community very extensively described all those parameters which influence the gas quality, and the calorific value is not a single component which influences the gas heating capacity. When we look at the water, still water and sparkling water, this is the same water, but it is different actually. So the consumer should be sure that the gas is of high quality. Actually, the consumer not is interested in the gas itself. A consumer is interested in the heat or energy produced by that gas. So, on the one hand, operators of gas transportation system should carry out its monitoring. The gas distribution operator has to monitor the gas quality, but consumers have doubts about neutrality, about independence of the opinion about gas quality. So we need an independent stakeholder here. On the one hand. On the other hand, as we heard today, the consumers have to follow and have follow the quality of the premises where they burn this gas. They should stick with necessary technical conditions for gas combustion, and in order to ensure efficient use of gas. My department is preoccupied with the efficient use of gas. When we come to the energy units, the regulator representatives mentioned that it will be just a first step alone path, and finally we will arrive to the payments calculated, to the fees calculated based on the energy units. There is a myth that you may install a metering in kilowatt hour per hour. That's not true. Any meter will measure your gas in volume, but only the operators will calculate and turn the volume into energy units. Also, we have scheduled some changes to the system, how we measure household consumption of gas or household heating We have introduced changes to the code that the temperature in the premises should be 12 degrees Celsius. This will result in increased consumption and consumers have to be ready for this. This is standard practice used in the European Union when the calculations are based on some specific or tied to specific conditions which are specified in the legislation. Then gas supplying institutions are responsible for this final stage, which I just described. We are just supplying gas to them.
Now, I would like to give the floor to Mykola Bolkhovitin, the representative of Transgaz. Mykola Bolkhovitin, the head of the Department of Metrology of Transgaz. We have always been controlling and defining the physical chemical indicators at all the points, and now we continue this work. I would like to mention that we don't have a separate network that would supply gas only to consumers of Ukraine. The whole gas which is transported is both for the consumers of Europe and Ukraine, and the gas that we receive for transit from Russian Federation, the gas which comes from our companies, the gas which is supplied to Ukraine according to import contracts comes along the same pipelines. We identified the physical chemical indicators, and we are controlled by our partners on the border, by the specialists of Slovak Republic, Poland, and Hungary. And you can see that they publish the same indicators as Transgaz publishes. All the indicators for Ukraine and for other countries are reflected there, and you can see that so first of all, Transgaz developed and approved 250 routes along which we will identify these indicators. All these routes were published on our official website, and Transgaz is developing and publishing passports of physical chemical indicators which have the information. This way, the only thing that has changed in these passports, according to the new requirements, we calculate and publish the average weighted indicators along the route, and for each outcome point. All the routes which will be developed and published by our colleagues from distribution companies will be connected to our routes, so the consumer can see directly, starting from the apartment to the distribution plant, could see the route of transporting the gas, who was identifying the indicators, which laboratory and how. What do we guarantee? Transgaz publishes all the indicators. We don't make any measurements just for ourselves. We publish all the information from all the measurements for each day of the analysis. All the data are open and published on our website. Along the route you can see to which distribution plant you're connected, and you can also see what are the indicators and look at the component, the composition of the natural gas. You can see the content of the oxygen. Also, you can see what is the humidity of gas, and we publish it all. And we guarantee that all the indicators correspond to all the norms, rules, and standards. That's it. I believe that in the future, we are now identifying physical chemical indicators once a week. In the future, we will be, we are working on use of some automatic devices, and that will be done minimum once an hour, not once a week, and we will complete this work within 3 to 5 years. Thank you. So what's happening with the routes in the networks of the operators of GTS? And Tetyana Buzovska, I would like to tell you about the work that we are doing in Dnipropetrovskgaz on defining the quality of gas and defining the route. Talking about the quality of gas, Dnipropetrovskgaz, just like other companies in Ukraine which have their own a test certified laboratory, organized an open campaign with the participation of journalists, representatives of the members of the regional council. So they participated in a press tour. And here's the presentation. We took samples of gas in 3 points of Dnipropetrovsk region. That was in Sinelnikovo, Titovo, Dnipro, Kochetaevska Street, 42A, and Kryvyi Rog, the micro district 5th Zarechny. All these samples were taken in the presence of the commission, which was set up by the regional administration and the journalists. Everything was transparent. The samples taken were checked at the modern equipment, chromas, at the laboratory of Dnipropetrovskgaz. Besides, we made public the results of the analysis. Calorific value in 3 points of the region was different, from 800 to 8,200 kilocalories per cubic meter. The standard which exists in Ukraine, the minimum indicator is 7,600. So we are saying that the gas was of high quality. And I would like to mention that even within one region, the calorific value was somewhat varying, and that confirms that the subscribers have to pay for calories that they receive, but not for cubic meters. We have also done the independent analysis, attracting the experts of Ukrmetrteststandart laboratory, and we made sample from the subscriber who was doubting the quality of gas, and we confirmed again that the subscriber had a high quality gas. Then, in the result of all this analysis, it was all published in mass media today. In Dnipropetrovskgaz is doing the following work according to resolution 84, and that is part of preparation to implementing the code. We have developed the routes according to physical chemical indicators of the gas. I would like to draw your attention to the fact how the routes will look like. That's how they look like. The slide shows the first route from one distribution plant to final consumer, and the second one is from two sources, from two distribution plants to the consumer. How are we developing the routes? We develop them at the level of the cities and villages and settlements. The settlements of village and village type participate in that, then streets in the private sector and multi-storied buildings up to 5 stories high, and those which are higher and the buildings which are higher than 5 stories in any settlement. Besides the routes, I would like to mention that the routes are developed according to similar physical chemical indicators.
Кроме маршрутов, информация для потребителей.
Besides that, we have developed the information for the consumer. The consumer will be able to compare the gas and select the gas indicators and select the most efficient type of fuel. Also, how will the consumer receive information on the calorific value of gas along the route? They can follow from their gas equipment to the source, looking at the route, and in payment document that they will receive, they will see all the indicators which are along the route. Thank you. And also the request to Kyivoblgaz, how can we calculate having some data on the volume and calorific value? Well, so I'm completing our presentations. So basically, we get the information from Transgaz and we see it in the passports. Tetyana said how we can follow the routes depending on where we are, and we can tie up and we can see what is the quality of gas along our route. The one thing which is unknown is the volume of gas, which we can see from the meter. Oleksiy mentioned that already. This volume of gas is to be standardized, and that probably will be most difficult thing because the population wouldn't like to understand it. There's the document, which is the document of 24, the methodology of bringing the natural gas to standard conditions. In case there are no equipment for measuring temperature and pressure of gas, that's not a new document, we've been using it for a long time. What are the main criteria? Depends on where you live, in which region. You find in the document the region where you live. Second, you mention where your meter is on that. The ratio depends, which you will select from the document and the month of the year, which you calculate. It's all described here in detail, and I believe that the person with the school education will understand it. We are getting objective volume of gas. As Oleksiy said, it will be bigger in winter than your meter shows, and in summer will be smaller than the meter shows. After we get the standard cubic meters, we multiply them at kilowatts of burning and get kilowatts, and that is what every person can do using the calculator. If you can have to transfer, if you have to measure that in gigacalories or megajoules, that's also very easy.
И все.
Спасибо, Павел. Перед тем, как мы перейдем к
Thank you, Pavlo. Before we will shift to Q&A session, I would like to sum up what we have heard today. So the Ukrtransgaz mentioned that the units in which we would like to measure gas in the market, they should be simple and understandable. There are a lot of indicators which cannot be understood by people. On the other hand, we should not apply different units. The units should be the same, and in order to prevent any manipulation with the units. So all the regulations presented to us by the regulator at the end of last year sets unified units for the whole country and requires to set information about consumed energy in kilowatt hours, in kilowatts per hour, then in gigacalories and in megajoule, in order to allow people understand the physical meaning. So, coming back to the map about gas quality in the regions, I would like to see the units, the figures, the values on this map in 3 units in kilocalories, in joules, and in kilowatt per hour. Also, we mentioned that gas quality is the responsibility of organizations which are different from gas suppliers. That is, Naftogaz is not responsible for gas quality. And these are consumers who are responsible for the gas combustion quality in the oven. Of course, we can provide quality gas, but we should also raise awareness of people that here much depends on them. As an organization, we understand that the poor fuel combustion efficiency is harmful for the entire country, not just for the consumers. then we understand that future metering will happen in the volume units. And we should transfer these volume units into energy units. And this should be done by Transgaz or Oblgaz. The formula which upon which this calculation will be made is approved by the regulator, while the raw data will come from Ukrtransgaz, which understands the sources, which knows what are the sources of gas, imported gas or produced gas, and we understand that transportation system is a closed system, and operators cannot interfere into this system and change the gas quality. And also we have another player which is fully independent, which is a meteorology standard. This is unbiased, absolutely independent structure, and we can invite this expert and check the quality of gas. Now I would like to invite the audience to the questions. And to start this session, I will ask two provocative questions, maybe, to Ukrnaftogaz. The question important for everybody. Who in this country should initiate setting the energy units as the basis for our bills, actually, and whether we need such a push. I do not think we need a leader here. This, of course, depends on all the market stakeholders. Consumers are interested in this. All the participants are interested in paying for commodity. Of course, there should be the same unit for which we pay at the border and which we sell inside the country. And here the regulator has to play key role in setting the rules of the game. Of course, they are trying to stick with this role, and as of today, they play just informative role. They provide information, but in future, they should set more strict rules for contracting, for calculation formulas, etc. So you believe that that the main role in a shift from volume units to the energy units should be played by the regulator. They shall set the rules. They have to decide which documents are to set the standards and who is responsible for what. What do you think? I believe that all the authorities should unite their effort, not just the regulator. We need to bring together the technical regulations on natural gas and bring them in line with the new standards. And if we wish to transfer the entire market into energy units, we should keep in mind that gas prices as of today for households are set by the Cabinet of Ministers. But if we wish to make this step into changing the units, we need resolution of the Cabinet of Ministers. And also we need changes in the technical regulation. Under these two conditions, this transit will be smooth. I absolutely agree with you. As of now, the special obligations will last till April 1st. So we have to ask ourselves the question, what prevents suppliers and consumers to calculate gas consumption in energy units? We mentioned calorific value, which allow the consumers to understand the calorific value of gas that entered his or her destination. Then, whether these data are sufficient to set gas bills not in volumetric units, but in energy units. Whether Ukrtransgaz later will say that this is the role of the Cabinet of Ministers, and then everything will depend on the Cabinet of Ministers, whether it will be able to say at some moment that from that moment in time we start to calculate in energy units, not in volumetric units. But at the same time, we say that we have free market, but Ukrnaftogaz buys contracts, buys gas based on the contracts where gas is indicated in energy units. So, what subjects of the gas market will win or lose with the shift to energy units? Oleksiy, would you describe this in modest detail? And then Kyivoblgaz and consumers will either confirm or reject this. When we come to the energy unit, when we speak about the energy units, then from financial point of view, this won't be very beneficial for consumers. Of course, the operators will have some costs due to a different way of metering. And finally, consumers will pay, but this won't be considerable raise in tariffs. Maybe this will be much less than even 1% of the gas value. But having the energy units will bring other changes to the market. We will bring measuring units in compliance with all the standards, and this may cause increase against the existing base. That's not bad, that's not good, but that's right way. when we measure something more carefully, this results in losses, of course, may result in losses. I believe that finally we will establish normal relations between consumers and suppliers, and here we need very careful public awareness work, and in course of this public awareness work, there will be much talks about conspiring and etc. But Transgaz will be a beneficiary in the transit to the energy units, or you will neither get nor lose something. You know that we have shifted to the reversed gas supplies for more than 400 days ago, and we buy gas in kilowatts, in energy units. And it's unnatural when you buy in kilowatts and sell it in cubic meters. In the market, it is important to measure everything in the same units.
And we, as the operator, will ensure similar rules for all. This will be a big impetus for the whole of market. And the Transgaz,
В кіловатах ми забезпечимо передачу газу в кіловатах в тих самих обсягах, які...
Хорошо, то есть у вас тоже ничего дополнительного не вылезет?
so there will be nothing additional. Pavel, Kyivoblgaz, will there be any additional revenues? No, I don't think, but the losses will be smaller. I think this is no secret that we are receiving gas from Transgaz in standard cubic meters and sell to population. We hope that everything will be fair now. People will pay for gas that they consume. So summing it up, we can say now the subjects of gas market don't lose anything, because in money they will get less money for super high quality gas, and in the other place same money for not very good quality gas. And on average the companies that produce gas get all their money. This system is unfair for consumers, especially for those who receive bad quality gas. It's unfair for importers who bring into the country high quality gas, and they cannot compete with the suppliers or producers in the regions where this gas differs from imported gas. What should the consumer do? My question is to Petro. You mentioned that you are producing or developing the equipment for indirect measuring of calorific value of the gas. Basically, will your equipment be affordable for a consumer? Or will they be affordable only to large companies? In the formula of calculation, I would like to take two components. First is expenditures, and the second is calorific burning.
Використання газу. І тут всі згадують за температуру, ну тут ж така штука є як тиск. І його треба так само приводити, тому що і тиск температури впливають на приведення до нормальних умов, по яких газ утримують, і тих умов реально, при якому тиску температури газ використовується. Це не є така проста проблема, якщо реально чітко то робити. От ця методика, яка є, вона...
The existing methodology takes into account many factors, but the pressure, for example, Frankivsk is 220 meters above the sea level, and the water boils at 95-96 degrees, so the subjective factor, and there are many of such subjective factors which are to be taken into account. Now talking about energy component of the formula. Chromatograph measures how much of this or that component multiplies by the calorific value of burning, and such method, these meters are very expensive in the world. It would be good to have a direct method. If you take some gas, burn it, and know what is the energy spent, but it's difficult. There are people in the world who are trying by indirect methods. They're trying to connect the temperature of burning with parameters of gas that we can measure. We measure the speed of ultrasound and CO2.
Годинник хроматографічний, але на рівні, скажімо так, метода експрес-контролю, ми його пробуємо використовувати.
At the level of the method of express control, we're trying to use it. We've been in that for 3 years, and now the problem is caliber. Now, our region is unique. About 9 pipelines come from different sources and they go abroad. And there is a big selection of gases where we can test the system. And now we will prepare the samples of gas and will calibrate the system. Other researchers are probably developing other pieces of equipment, but the criteria is the practice. If there is a need in the market, we will expand our efforts in this direction. We need assistance from organizations for who it is interesting. The equipment, there will be an equipment affordable for consumer. Another thing is what it shows. We were using the samples of gas which we had, and these are subjective elements. Now we need to prepare different samples and do classical methods of caliber. Thank you. We would like to remind about the standard organization. We have always been working on the methods of measuring, and please come to us if you need to know what admixtures are there as to legislation or regulations. We have translated into Ukrainian the document of the international organization ILM L140, which has recommendations on how to test and how to calibrate. So your colleagues contacted us. So to sum it up, the consumer will not be left on his own with the suppliers, with Oblgazes. They will always be able to go to independent organizations or to buy some equipment which will be affordable. Because our time is over, I will just sum it up. The transition to calculations in energy units will not add transparency for understanding what is energy and gas for consumer. It's obvious. Most of consumers do not believe into indicators that they see in the meters. There are different methodologies which are to be taken to standardize the units. In Ivano-Frankivsk, the water boils not at 100 degrees. And that's also not something very obvious for everyone. What will allow, what will we have? The energy units will allow us to pay for the commodity that we get. In our gas stoves, the consumer will pay for for what they get. And it is important that such attitude of gas as to energy will open up doors so that every household thinks about energy efficiency. Because now for most consumers, cubic meter of some gas admixture cannot be compared to anything. Electric kilowatt an hour is understandable, but how such kilowatt hour could be received from a cubic meter of gas and make a conclusion for yourself what is more profitable in this time of the day or in this season, what's better to use to heat water, electric or gas boiler. Only when the consumer sees the price for kilowatt hour of electricity and gas, only then they will be able to do it, if you have no questions. Website 104. Do I understand it all correctly? Physical, chemical properties of gas will be defined by those who load gas, pump gas into gas distribution system. Based on the formula and the data which the operator gets from those who pump the gas into the system, will calculate the average weighted heating thermal or calorific value of burning. It's from one source. In practice, it could be not so, and then the operator will have to calculate.
Вопрос, а будут ли публиковать?
And I don't understand what the chemical physical parameters of gas will be published. Who will publish them? Where can we see that? It's clear with Ukrtransgaz. As to producers, it's not clear.
ГРМ, правильно?
То есть оператор ГРМ возьмет формулу, опять же, из методики, из утвержденной методики 2004 года, переведет для потребителя объем, перемножит одно на другое, да, приведенный объем на рассчитанную, либо переданную оператором ГТС средневзвешенную теплоту сгорания, и все это укажет в платежке. Как сможет это проверить потребитель? Он может двигаться обратно, да, он знает свой адрес, он может зайти на сайт оператора ГРМ, найти свой маршрут, найти для этого маршрута, правильно, паспорт, да? Кстати, а что будет в паспорте? Только средневзвешенная теплота сгорания или что-то еще? То есть все параметры газа будут, да? Значит, он все это может посмотреть и даже, может быть, возможно, сможет найти еще, определить источник, откуда ему газ поставляли, да, и зайти на сайт источника и там тоже все это посмотреть. Кстати, есть у нас читатели сайта 104, которые активно комментируют наши публикации на Фейсбуке, и они, кстати, высказывают свое замечание к методике, которая приводит, да, газ к стандартным условиям. То есть они считают, что существующая методика не очень аккуратно учитывает вот как раз давление над уровнем моря, что она усредняет его по области, а ведь фактически условия разные. Они планируют регуляторы усовершенствовать эту методику.
Марина, у вас вопрос на доклад, да? Надо было вас, наверное, рядом с нами посадить, и вы бы сделали доклад по поводу того, что думает общественность вообще о переходах на калорийность. Но как бы в целом я постараюсь ответить на ваш вопрос комплексно, а потом мы по вопросу пересмотра методики зададим вопрос регулятору. Их ли это документ или кто-то другой должен его разрабатывать. На самом деле добычники в стране не живут оторванно от системы, насколько я себе представляю. Да? Даже те добычники, которые передают газ в сети ГРМ, они точно так же находятся во взаимодействии с Трансгазом, и перед оператором ГРМ за качество, калорийность там, и объемные характеристики газа отвечает Трансгаз. Только потому, что как бы, баланс в стране сводит одна организация. И неважно, в каких единицах мы этот баланс получаем, в объемных либо в энергетических. Поэтому, скорее всего, вот эти точки соприкосновения добычников и операторов ГРМ, это все равно будут точки оператора Трансгаза, да, они будут как-то по-другому называться. В коммерческих взаимоотношениях это виртуальные точки входа с стороны конкретного оператора ГРМ. Ну и точно такие же есть виртуальные точки выхода в направлении оператора ГРМ. Поэтому, скорее всего, эти точки появятся в перечне точек оператора ГТС, и по ним будут такие же паспорта даваться с той же скважностью или с тем же временным интервалом, как это будет принято или зарегламентировано у Трансгаза. Что касается неточности методики приведения к стандартным условиям, я с вами соглашусь, потому что эта методика существовала, да, это методика 90-х годов, ее никто не переделывал. Но все мы ей пользовались. Сказать, что она радикально как бы не учитывает последствия этих наших региональных особенностей по давлению, было бы неправда. Погрешность или там... Угу. Ну, как бы грубость, которая существует сейчас, да, вот разницы кубического метра и того же кубического метра, приведенного к стандартным условиям и выраженного в энергетических единицах, она местами измеряется там, чуть ли не десятками процентов. Да, это очень грубо. А то, о чем вы говорите, это, в моем понимании, 1-1,5%. Поэтому, если мы последовательно будем двигаться в направлении изменения всех документов, то мы, скорее всего, придем в ближайшем будущем к тому, что мы, как потребители, хотели бы видеть. Плюс я согласен с коллегами из Ukrmetrteststandart, нам не нужно придумывать свой нормативный велосипед. Да? Если мы взяли за основу европейское законодательство, там все эти вопросы уже выписаны. И, как правило, переход на тот или иной нормативный документ связан только с тем, что нам его нужно вовремя перевести и по бюрократическим процедурам принять. Вот. Поэтому что произойдет раньше? Переход на калорийность, либо сначала приведение всех нормативных документов к идеальному состоянию, а потом переход, покажет практика. Возможно, кто-то хочет добавить по этому вопросу.
Когда потребитель сможет платить не за кубы, да, а, собственно, за энергию?
Ну, я, наверное, скажу, как бы радикально отвечу на этот вопрос, не так витиевато, как делали мои коллеги. Я считаю, что переход на расчеты в энергетических единицах зависит от конкретного поставщика. И, к сожалению или к счастью, у нас самый массовый потребитель – это население, и вот такого как бы волевого перехода на расчеты с населением в энергетических единицах поставщик не может сделать, потому что есть постановление Кабмина про спецобязанности, где, к сожалению, жестко прописано, что поставляется газ населению в кубических метрах, и цена прописана за кубический метр. Поэтому, либо если бы этой постановы не было, раз, либо в этой постанове написано было бы, что цена на газ может быть не только за кубический метр, но и за киловатт-час, ну, там, начиная с ближайшего 1 числа, я думаю, что нашлись бы поставщики, которые бы перешли бы на расчеты в энергетических единицах. Потому что, повторюсь еще раз, для большинства субъектов это выгодно. Да, это снимает кучу разных промежуточных пересчетов, расчетов. И самое главное, что это упрощает или делает более прозрачным цепочку поставки энергии от добычи или от импортера до потребителя. Поэтому, когда произойдет, не знает никто на самом деле. Да? Но вот если бы не мешало вот это, то произошло бы быстрее.
Константин Симоненко, ЮБИАРУА. Я хотел бы уточнить, означает ли вот такой переход, что придется доплатить вот там стандарт 7600, сейчас 8200, то есть уже за эту разницу придется доплатить. И хотел бы уточнить по поводу анализов, то есть, насколько я понимаю, сейчас право вообще отбирать газ из трубопровода имеют только облгазы. И если потребитель хочет привлечь какую-то стороннюю организацию, он все равно обращается в облгаз. И таким образом в любом случае он вынужден верить, ну, грубо говоря, на слово, что, собственно, потребителей и волнует, что иначе они никак не могут проверить качество газа. Как решаются эти вопросы за границей и что вообще сейчас может сделать потребитель, как он может добиться компенсации, если вдруг, скажем, ну, что-то с газом не так, но понятно, что там конфликт интересов, и облгаз всегда скажет, что все отлично.
Алексей Кhabatiuk, если можно, по поводу 7600 и реальной калорийности, да, то есть за что мы платим сейчас реально, и будет ли этот скачок, если мы перейдем?
Ну, мы сегодня уже не платим за 7600, мы платим за ту реальную калорийность, которая поставляется, среднюю, скажем так, то есть то, что нету дифференциации, но платят за среднюю калорийность, которая поставляется населению. Что касается конфликта интересов, ну, так я в своем первом выступлении говорил, да, конфликт интересов существует, я, по моему мнению, и в текущих условиях, поскольку даже если возможно проведение по кодексу независимой лаборатории измерений, понятно, что идут определенные подготовительные процедуры к отбору. То есть отбор проб сам потребитель в текущих условиях не имеет права произвести, поскольку, ну, есть много аспектов. Аспекты организационные, аспекты безопасности и аспекты вмешательства в работу газораспределительной сети. В принципе, это наказуемое действие, если ты вмешиваешься самостоятельно в это дело, поэтому принимают участие оператор ГРМ. Соответственно, назовем так, эффект неожиданности пропадает. Да, то, что часто беспокоит конечного потребителя. И здесь, ну, по моему мнению, в текущей конфигурации законодательного поля, ну, невозможно это урегулировать. потому что оно есть такое, как есть, процедура прописана. Что касается, что бы можно было сделать, что бы нужно было сделать, или возможно было сделать, или думать в этом направлении, это все-таки обеспечение либо дача права регулятору, либо какому-то уполномоченному органу производить отборы вот этим методом независимым, условно, с привлечением соответственных аттестованных лабораторий. Но это вопрос, наверное, следующих шагов, но об этом нужно думать и нужно над этим работать.
Микрофон только включите.
Пару слов, если позволите, я дополню. Дело в том, что есть национальный стандарт, гармонизированный с международным, со стандартом ИСУ. Не помните номер? 10715. 10715, вот мне подсказывают. Он устанавливает правила отбора проб. Дело в том, что любой, скажем, заказчик этой процедуры, да, анализа газа, он сам, по большому счету, диктует правила игры. И он может указать, что я хочу, чтобы проба газа была проведена в соответствии с этим стандартом. Составляется акт отбора проб. Он может привлечь к этому как поставщика газа, так лабораторию, которая будет проводить в последующем измерения, так и сам участвовать в этом процессе. И сам подписывать акт отбора пробы. Поэтому, в общем-то, здесь все прозрачно, я считаю, и никто ни от кого никаких секретов не таит.
Ну, проблема, наверное, в том, что не может самостоятельно заказчик прийти на трубу облгаза или трансгаза.
Нет, конечно.
Точку отбора.
Ну, участвовать может, взять документ, посмотреть, правильно ли все делают в плане отбора. Там ничего сложного нету. Там
то есть сама регламентная процедура, как бы опасение, что там обманут, она надуманная. Да? Потому что, ну, как мы говорили, система герметична, и даже если вы предупредили оператора за день, за два, за неделю, что вы придете к нему и будете брать пробу, инертная система настолько большая, что он ничего не сможет сделать, чтобы поправить для вас как бы качество или параметры газа. Баллон подменить по дороге куда-то, наверное, сможет. Да? А вот на месте, на точках отбора взять как бы, и закачать не тот газ, ну, очень это сложно.
Что имеете в виду? Отбор пробы?
Да, экспертиза, отбор пробы.
Конечно. Анализ одной пробы газа в нашей лаборатории что-то порядка 9000, насколько я помню, стоит. Можно тогда еще пару слов, потому что вопрос задаю часто и считаю, что это должно проводиться бесплатно. Отвечу на этот вопрос тоже. Значит, наша организация работает 850 сотрудников, ну приблизительно, да. Вот. Мы государственное предприятие, да. Ну, как вы думаете, у нас объем бюджетного финансирования какой? Вот есть там определенное количество денег, поступающих на наш расчетный счет в год. Вот какой объем из них бюджета финансирования, как вы думаете? Ну, не буду утомлять, да, 0,2%. Вот как вы считаете, нам зарплату людям платить из каких средств? Если мы сейчас все бросим, все наши работы, да, которые мы занимались все время, и будем заниматься только тем, что проводить анализ газа по заявкам, причем бесплатно. Как вы думаете, вот как мы будем содержать наш коллектив? Это первое. Второе, мы не можем ни одной работы провести бесплатно. У нас также есть финансовый план, мы платим налоги в бюджет страны. И если, не дай бог, мы хоть копейку в бюджет не заплатим положенных средств за любую работу, но опять же нас накажут за это. Поэтому вопрос о том, что почему это платно, ну я считаю, что они, скажем, не совсем уместны.
Не, Андрей, это же не претензия к вам, это как бы вопрос системы, да, то есть нужно ли государству предусмотреть систему, когда по любому свистку любого потребителя какой-то специально выделенный орган, который живет на обеспечении всего общества, финансируется через бюджет, будет выбегать и как бы делать контрольные заборы? Наверное, нет. Практика всех подобных конфликтных взаимоотношений говорит о том, тот, кто сомневается, тот должен платить. Это нормально.
Сейчас, одну секунду, если вы помните, был госнадзор, было такое, да, направление деятельности, да, действительно, и на базе нашей организации были подразделения госнадзора, да, они каждый год утверждали план проверок, да, они получали бюджетное финансирование на проведение этих проверок, и тут была понятная ситуация, они шли на эти проверки, и они информацию о их результатах освещали, это было бесплатно, конечно же, для предприятий. Вот, ну, здесь не та ситуация.
Я понял. Коллеги, спасибо, время у нас уже, к сожалению, вычерпалось. Поэтому всем спасибо. Все вопросы, которые остались, можно продолжить в кулуарах, либо там за пределами этой площадки. Спасибо большое.